And that brings us to 30 minutes after 6 o'clock right here on Alex FM 89.1. Elevate your mind. We are getting into the weekend action, and joining me on the line is a football analyst, and that is Ezekiel Iniesta to discuss the DSTV Premiership action that took place over the weekend. Ezekiel, good evening, Happy New Year, and welcome to Alex FM.
Yeah, good evening to you, Matlodi, and the listeners at home. Compliments, Happy New Year to you, Matlodi, and the listeners at home.
Thank you so much, Ezekiel. And let's start this new year. Let's just get this on the road. But we started with the DSTV Premiership. From this weekend, there's not really much to talk about. But I always say that the second half of the season is very, very interesting because each team kind of knows where they stand. It's either you're fighting relegation, or you're fighting to get into top 8, or you're fighting to get into the top 4. You already know where you stand. So it's a bit difficult to get points from any team in the league. But now, from the weekend, Citizens are the only teams that managed to get 3 points. Kaizer Chiefs are the only team that lost this weekend. How would you sum up this weekend's DSTV Premiership action?
Yeah, it was very disappointing. It was very disappointing. First games of the year DSTV Premiership 2025, seeing more than 135 players taking part in the weekend's game, but we only saw 3 goals from those players. So it was very disappointing from that way Premiership. I believe teams like Cape Town City did very well under the guidance of Mushili Etukralo, who's the new interim coach and also technical director there at the Citizens. But the whole teams, I think they were very disappointing, not scoring goals this past week. The likes of Marumo Gallant and Richards Bay drawing 0-0, and also the KZN Derby. I saw Abafana West 10, the Golden Arrows, also playing Amazulu, also 0-0. So it was very disappointing. I think the teams are still off the season, but I believe they will come back stronger. Remember, most of the players they were off. They were still at the break. So, but I believe the players will come back stronger coming in the next game. We saw teams like Stellenbosch, Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns. They were not taking part in Betway Premiership this week. Remember, they were playing the Continent Tournament. So I believe we'll see more goals coming next game of the league. Remember, during midweek we'll see a lot of games, but it was very disappointing to see more than 125 players playing this past weekend, but only we saw 3 goals. Very disappointing, Madrid.
I mean, it was a disappointing weekend, but let me, like I mentioned, that the second half of the season is very difficult. You won't easily get points from anybody. Anyone is just withholding the points. Anyone, almost every team is looking to get those points. And as I mentioned, it's either you want to get into top 8, or you want to stay in the top 8, or you are moving away from relegation, or you want to get that CAF Champions League spot. But now, talking about that, with Kaizer Chiefs and looking at where they're sitting after that defeat to Cape Town City, they want to keep themselves in top 8 because they are really not safe in that top 8. Anything can still happen. TS Galaxy or Chippa United or Golden Arrows can actually still pass them. TS Galaxy can still move them out of the way, even though Kaizer Chiefs have played 1 less game compared to TS Galaxy. So there's just quite a lot that is happening. The likes of Amakezi, they're going to start being difficult to lose those games. They're going to start giving teams problems at the top. When you look at where Polokwane City and Sekhukhune United are sitting, Stellenbosch, that CAF Champions League sport is also going to be a problem. It's going to be really hard for teams to beat those teams that are at the top because they now know where they stand and what is it that they are fighting for.
Yeah, it's very difficult there at the top and also in the middle and at the bottom. Teams like, obviously, Kaizer Chiefs, remember, they just lost on the weekend. Obviously, they're still not safe on the relegation. So, teams like Amazulu, also, they are still fighting for top 8. Abafana West 10, they want to survive relegation. Remember, they still don't have a coach. They're still under coach Kaitso Dikhashu and also Musapila Nkulu. So, still hard there at Abafana West 10. And also, the top 3, Mamelodi Sundowns Football Club, Orlando Pirates, Stellenbosch. Also, they're still fighting for their title, Betway Premiership. So it's going to be a tough one this season. But I believe the way we see a lot of draws in these teams, I believe it's going to be difficult for teams like Kaizer Chiefs, as I've mentioned. And looking at the likes of Matsatanza, Pretoria, Supersport, They are coming all right under the guidance of Gavin Hunt. Remember the last two games, I think they won their last two games, and also they drew the last game against Stellenbosch at Lucas Master Murido, where they drew 1-1. So it's not going to be difficult this second round, but I believe teams like Kaizer Chiefs, they'll manage to be in top 8. I believe they'll be around there, 7 and 8. But obviously they won't be relegated. But to be honest, teams like Marumo Galant, and also the Kwenatame, I believe definitely they will be relegated. But at the top, I believe right now it's going to be tough. The Zero Bus Orlando Pirates Football Club, they're coming strong. Remember the last league game where they played Marumo Galant, they won by 8-1 at Escodini, Orlando. And also remember, Stellenbosch, they're doing good. They're coming. And also Mamelodi Sundowns, they are under new mentorship, Mr. Miguel Cardoso. I believe they'll come back strong. So it's going to be a tough second round, Mashud.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough one. We'll go to the top. Let's just talk about Kaizer Chiefs, where the head coach said after the match that getting a striker, definitely it's exactly what they need, but it's not going to solve all their problems. But now you're wondering, the problems that Chiefs are what would sort out Kaizer Chiefs' problems if strikers won't be a solution? If strikers alone won't be a solution for Kaizer Chiefs, what are Kaizer Chiefs' problems? What do they need to be sorted out?
Yeah, I believe there are a lot of big problems there at Naturena. I think the changing of coaches lately at Kaizer Chiefs, I think it has affected Kaizer Chiefs big time. Since the likes of Giovanni Solinas during the time of 24-25 season, and also Steve Hompela. I think Steve Hompela was coming all right, to be honest. That's my opinion. I believe the guy was coming all right. Remember, he played more than 3 cup finals where he lost those cup finals, and there were a lot of scandals, but the team was doing very well. They even finished number 3 on the log. And Steve, remember, he found Chiefs where Stuart Baxter was doing very well, just won more than 3 trophies in 2 seasons. So it was not going to be easy for him to make a name there at Kaizer Chiefs. But I believe the guy did very well. I believe Chiefs, they needed to trust the process and believe in Coach Steve. But you know the game how it is. I think Coach Nabi, he will come all right, man. He will come all right. It's just those days where Kaizer Chiefs is struggling. I think Kaizer Chiefs fans, the Kaizer Chiefs family need to trust the project that Coach Nabi is trying to do. I think the guy's going to do well with his technical team. And the players, I believe Kaizer Chiefs, to be honest, they just need to go to the market and sign the new players. I think the transfer window is open right now. There are good quality players. They can sign there at Young Africa. The likes of Muzizi is doing very well. I believe it's the guy that can solve Chiefs' problem. I hear a lot of people, they say they want Osino Police and Maduli, but I personally believe those 2 guys, they are not the solution for Kaizer Chiefs. Those guys, they are good players, without a doubt. But where are they going to play at Kaizer Chiefs? So you can see the way the style of play, Nabi, he's trying to build at the back, but it's not working for him. And you know how the likes of Apollos, they play. They can suit very well there at Orlando Pirates Football Club, because Pirates is playing running football. They are playing a high pressing game. So it's going to be tough for the players like Matuliti and the likes of Apollos. Those are the good players, but the way Kaizer Chiefs plays, I don't think those guys going to fit and change things at Kaizer Chiefs. Yes, the Miracles can be there, but I don't think they're going to fit. But to be honest, there are a lot of problems at Kaizer Chiefs. I don't think the management and the technical teams are the problem. Kaizer Chiefs is in one of those things in their football, and we say it's part of the game. It's part of the game. It will come and it will go. So Kaizer Chiefs, they just need to trust the process and believe in the Nabi's project.
Oh man, Ezekiel, I'm going to have to end our conversation here. I have something to talk about, but that can still wait. I wanted us to discuss Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, but we can still discuss it a bit later on when Orlando Pirates have played their 11th game and see where the locker sits, or where they sit on the locker, and see what's going to happen. But because of time, I'm going to have to wrap up our conversation here. Thank you so much for joining us. Up until next time, have a great evening further.
Thank you to you, Matlodi, and the listeners at home. Good evening.
Thank you. And that was Ezekiel. We'll be back right after an ad break to discuss more of the DSTV Premiership.